Welcome to the Plant Cunning Podcast,
where we explore our relationship to plants, other people, and the mysteries of nature.
Coming to you from the high Allegheny Plateau in central New York.
We are your hosts, A.C. Staubel
and Isaac Hill. Okay, welcome to another episode of the Plant Cunning Podcast. This is a special episode. I think it's our longest episode yet. It's like over 2 hours, and it's with Sara Mastros, who has been on the show before. This time we're talking about tarot. We're going to talk a little bit about like how to be a good tarot reader in the first part, and then we're going to get into her new app, which is actually an old app that she's helping to rehabilitate and make better, called the Fool's Dog Tarot, and many of you may have this app already, but there's a new expanded edition coming out now, and she's very excited to share with us how that works. It's a free app, and you can download it on Android and Apple, so check that out. And we do 2 readings in this episode, one for her and one for us, and so it's a lot of fun to see all that and actually do like live readings. And before we get into the episode, I just want to share 2 things. The first one is that I am doing a special on Vedic astrology readings, so we're doing a 20% discount. Basically, it's $80 for an hour reading, $80 for 60 minutes, and that's through the dog days of summer. So get to me by August 13th, and we will set up a date. And it doesn't have to be for that time period. We just have to schedule the reading at that time. That's the window of opportunity. So email me at info@plantcunning.com if you would like to schedule a Vedic astrology reading with me. The second thing is that starting August 13th is the relaxing and educational herb retreat that AC is putting on with Gabriel and the Actea Institute, and also with Plant Cunning. And it's going to be at a beautiful place in the Adirondacks. And as of this day, releasing this episode, there is only 1 room available, but there is still plenty of camping available. So you can find out more about this retreat at actea.org. And they are beginning to get ready for the full Actea Institute curriculum, the course, which is starting in the fall. So check out actea.org for all of that. Okay, I hope you enjoy the episode, and hope to see you in a reading or at the herb retreat or just online in the comments or wherever. So have a wonderful day. Here's the episode. Okay, so we have Sara Mastros returning to the Plant Cunning Podcast today, and we're very excited to talk about tarot and Sara's new app. It's actually an old app that's getting reshuffled and put out as a new app called the Fool's Dog. So, and it's about tarot, obviously.
Yes.
So, Sara, how are you doing? What's life been like?
I am doing great. Things are pretty crazy since last I talked to you guys. So my next book, Introduction to Witchcraft, 13 Lessons in the Practice of Magic, is in final copy edits at Crossed Crow right now. It'll be out a couple days before Halloween. Ooh. My other book, Sefer HaOtot, a Hebrew Book of Seals, which I know people have been patiently waiting for, is also with the editor at Hadean. That process is a little slower, I take full responsibility for, like, I'm not throwing Hadean under the bus, but because it's a much more complicated book with these fancy illustrations and a lot of Hebrew and stuff, like the editing process is quite long and involved. That book, I don't have a firm release date for, but my guess would be around Christmas or New Year's, in that winter release season would be my expectation. Let me think if there's anything else exciting going on. Working with the Dead is a 7-month course that I'm going to launch in September, but people can check it out now if they want.
Oh,
awesome. And then where people can find you at witchlessons.com?
Witchlessons.com, or honestly, if you just put my name into Google with quotes, everything that comes up will be me. As far as I know, I'm the only Sara Mastros in the world. It's my last name. Mastros is just quite unusual. I've never met a person named Mastros who wasn't so closely related to me that, like, if we talked it through, we could figure out what kind of cousins we were.
Cool.
But if you don't use quotes, it'll be like, did you mean Sara Mastro? And every time I'm like, no, I definitely did not. That is not my name, Google. Not my name.
Nice. Well, it's good to have a unique name, I think.
I really like it. Some of my friends like say Jason Miller. He's not even the only Jason Miller I know. And
Right.
as a person with an unusual name, I actually feel like if I met another Sara Mastros, we would be obligated to duel to the death, like Highlander style, just immediately.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah. So tarot.
Yeah.
What is tarot? Is it like they're tarot cards? Are those like birthday cards or like
But tarot cards are much more like playing cards. In fact, they're developed. Some people would say they're developed from modern playing cards, but I would say more that playing cards and tarot cards developed from the same kinds of antique decks.
Mm-hmm.
Their origins are a little bit shadowy, but they, at least in Europe, like originated in Italy, depending exactly what qualifies as tarot. The oldest decks, I'm going to say, start around like maybe the 1400s. But what we think of as modern tarot is a quite sort of highly structured format. So like a deck of cards, there are 4 suits, and those sorts are elemental. So cups, which correspond to hearts in playing cards, represent water. Swords, which represent air. Wands, which represent fire, they go with clubs. And what did I miss? And coins, which is sometimes also called pentacles. And that's the one that I feel like has a lot of different names. I usually just call it coins. That is associated with diamonds and represents earth. So just like in playing cards, there are like 10 numbered cards, ace through 10. And then there are 4 court cards instead of 3. So in playing cards, we would go like, at least in American playing cards, I understand that European playing cards have slightly different names for the suits and for the court cards, but they're the same structurally, right? So in playing cards, we have jacks, queens, kings. In tarot, we usually have pages, knights, queens, and kings, but sometimes they have other names, right? And then there is an addition, an extra sort of like suit, which is sometimes called the major arcana, or when you're playing them for card games, which is how tarot was invented. Like tarot was invented to play card games with, right? They're sometimes called trumps, and they function like trumps do in card games, right? There are 22 cards in the major arcana, and they tell sort of like, they're sort of like mythic allegories, largely biblical allegories, although in modern tarot, like the biblicalness of it is pretty vague and metaphoric. But when you know that they started off historically as biblical allegories, sometimes it gives you a little more like insight into what the individual cards mean. They're usually highly illustrated. So very old decks, the like playing card ones, which we call pips, the ones with numbers on them, don't always have like scenes on them, right? But in modern decks, they usually, every card has a full scene. So it's really actually quite easy to start off fortune telling with them because they have pictures on them, and you can kind of just treat them like a little storyboard and make up a story. And that's, I'm not suggesting that's the ideal way to read cards. Like learning more about them, you become a much more sophisticated reader, and you can see like a lot more complicated things. But objectively, they're easy to start with. And one of the things I love about the Fool's Dog, and once I show you the app, I think you guys and also the audience will see like why it's really good for studying cards and like getting to know them, both for beginners who are new to tarot and also for like experienced readers who are getting to know individual decks.
Sure. And is it okay to ask a few more questions before we get into the app?
Please, you can ask anything you want.
Cool. So to take it up a level, what do you see most people are getting wrong with tarot when they're doing tarot readings as a teacher?
Okay, for beginners, I think what they get wrong is they sort of fall into 2 camps, where some people completely ignore the traditional meanings. Like the cards mean things. You can't just make up whatever you want based. I mean, you can kind of make up what you want based on the picture. And in a good deck, that is to say a deck where like most decks, there's actually an author and an artist. Like usually someone kind of decides what they want on each card, and then they collaborate with an artist to like bring that image to life. Sometimes the author and the artist are the same person, which is sometimes great, but sometimes I think the act of collaborating with someone else, at least I find when I work with, say, illustrators, it really forces me to like articulate what I'm talking about. Whereas sometimes I think when the author and the artist are the same person, sometimes there's a lot of like personal symbolism that is not really explained. So Robert Place is an example of somebody who designs their own decks and is the artist. And I want to be clear before I say any of this, I love Robert Place decks. I think they're amazing. I own like 6 of them. But I will tell you, because I own a lot of his decks, there's like in his head, there's like a connection between the 4 of Cups and elephants. Like so many of his 4 of Cups have elephants on them, but I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I feel like if it was an artist and an author, they would have explained it to each other and we would know. So my personal preference, but you know, if both of those people were good at their job, then the picture and the like traditional meaning of the card and the meaning of the book should all gel together. But of course, you know, sometimes less so. And those decks aren't necessarily like, I wouldn't necessarily characterize them as bad decks, but they're sometimes not great for beginners. And when beginners use those decks in particular, like when the first deck you learn on isn't a very traditional deck, I think sometimes people have this habit of just reading them based solely on the pictures, which is fine, but I think they're missing a lot of the power. And then there's another category of beginners who like reads them as if they're a code. Like the number 4 always means stability. And the suit of discs always means like money. And therefore, the 4 of discs means financial stability. And here's the thing, that's true, but they're missing a lot of stuff when they read that way. And so I think like beginners generally, I feel like are making one of those 2 mistakes. Like either they're too reliant on the pictures or they're too reliant on it, on treating it in some sense like it's just a table of meanings, right? Like, and if they're going to do that, then like that's a valid way to read, but they might as well just be reading playing cards. Like if they're not going to make use of the pictures and the symbolism and the like history and myth woven into them, then don't. And I actually think it's a good exercise, right? As you're learning to do one where you're focusing only on the pictures, like try reading that way and try reading sometimes only from like a table. Because I think then you can kind of hone those skills separately before you put them together.
Do you have a deck that you really recommend for beginners?
I really think RWS, which is, okay, so this is, for a little bit of tarot history. RWS, for people who don't know, stands for Rider Waite Smith. Well, remember how I said there's usually an author and an artist? So Arthur Waite is the author. People might know his name because he was a prominent figure in the founding of the Golden Dawn. Pamela Coleman Smith, also called Pixie Smith, is the artist. She's amazing. Ryder is the publisher. He didn't really do much. I mean, as a publisher, I can tell you, I don't think his name should be first. But historically, that deck was just called Rider Waite. Like, we didn't even mention Pamela Smith. I wonder why. Right? Yeah. But then we started calling it Rider Waite Smith, RWS. But personally, I actually like to call it Smith Rider Waite.
Nice.
But in order to confuse people, I suppose, I still call it RWS, even though I call it Smith Rider. So that's why sometimes, like, for beginners, it's a little confusing because sometimes you'll see a lot of different names for that deck.
Yeah.
Right. The particular Smith Rider Waite we carry that you guys are going to see is the original 1909 edition. We just brightened up we translated the colors digitally, but like with any deck, the different printed editions, especially in older printing technologies, can be quite different in terms of the colors. So for people who are used to the modern decks and are like keen-eyed, they might see that the colors in ours are slightly different. These are actually the original colors that we use. That's the deck I recommend most for beginners. Both, I think it's a really good deck, right? Like it reads, in my opinion, very clearly. The pictures clearly depict and like communicate what they're trying to communicate. Pixie Smith was a set designer and a costume designer. And so like she has a lot of experience like packing a lot of story into a very simple backdrop and some clothes. That's and one fun trick I'll show you guys if we do a reading with that deck is the cards have really low horizons on them, but they're not the same on other cards. And if you line the horizons up as if it was a stage with some backdrops, it creates like a foreground and a background on a stage, and you can read them that way. I didn't learn. I've been reading that deck for decades by the time I learned that.
That's so cool.
Yeah, but like when I learned she was a costume and set designer, it really like added some depth.
Definitely.
Literally.
Yeah, exactly, right? But the reason I recommend that deck is because most modern decks are really built out of that one. So there are basically two strands of tarot. One is the RWS and the other one is the Marseille, which is an older style. Like RWS is actually an adaptation of Marseille. Some decks are, so we carry two, maybe three Marseille style decks, which are the same. They just have slightly different art, you know. Those decks I think are a little bit harder for beginners. So what I would say is like start RWS, and then once you feel confident in that, like move on to like a Marseille style deck, because if you can read RWS and Marseille, you can read almost any deck. Like most decks are built on top of the, sort of those frameworks. And then the other thing I recommend, and because our decks are only $4, I can be like, beginners, just buy a bunch of different decks because they're cheap, right? So you get to like play with them. What I also say is find one deck that just like you really love the art and play with that. Like it really just speaks to you, and play with that one too. But I do recommend like learning the traditional decks, because then you can take what you learn, like even if you don't really like those decks after a while, what you learned there can be easily translated into other decks. Whereas if you start with like an art deck, it's not going to necessarily, you're still going to have a big learning curve on every other deck.
Yeah.
So those are the ones I like to start with. I will say what I started with was an RWS that I got at a yard sale.
Cool.
And it did when I was maybe 12-ish, 13. I'm not sure how old I was. And it didn't, tarot decks, when you buy a paper deck, I mean, I know you guys know this, but for the audience, right? When you buy a box of tarot cards, it comes with a little tiny booklet of meanings that we usually, in the tarot game, we usually call a little white book or an LWB, right? But I didn't have one of those, like, because I bought just a random deck at a yard sale. I didn't have one. And so I just kind of had to make it up.
Yeah.
From the pictures, and that worked-ish. But then I got a book, and that definitely helped. And that's really my idea that, like, if you only read the pictures, you're kind of missing out. I know, because I did that for a couple years. And it worked, you know, you can do it that way. But when I got the book, I was like, oh. Because the idea that, like, look, the idea that coins cards were about money, I kind of put that one together. Like, right, you can kind of tell. But some of them, like the fact that cups cards were about like interpersonal relationships and like those kinds of emotions, I didn't really put that together until I was told that. So I think like that, and it did really deepen my reading. So I think like that's why I say like those two methods put together, I think really help.
And what about oracle decks? Like, what's the difference between a tarot deck and maybe other oracle decks that you see with animals or plants or things like that?
So a tarot deck is defined by like its structure. It has to have those 4 suits.
Okay.
It has to have the same number of cards. It has the major arcana, like it has to have these specific 22 cards. And you can take like some artistic license. And do I occasionally see tarot decks where I'm like, ooh, you've pushed that license pretty far, friend. I do. And some of them I really like because you can read them from the pictures. So like when they're too far off, I feel like that's a little misleading for beginners. Sometimes they're not great decks to learn from, but they're still great decks. But there are all kinds of other fortune-telling decks, right, that just don't follow the tarot structure. So first, you can just read with regular playing cards, which I love to do. There's a kind of a deck called like a Lenormand deck or an Atelier deck or a Kipper deck. And those are other styles that do have like a specific list of cards and like a traditional way to read each card. But there are also what we just call oracle cards, which are basically like homebrew divination decks. You know, they read differently depending on who made them. So hopefully whoever made them like tells you how to read it. But in principle, once you have some skill with cartomancy, or if you have like experience with some other kind of divination or fortune telling, switching from system to system, I find, like either from deck to deck, but even more broadly, like once you know tarot, if you want to switch to like runes or I Ching or even astrology, right, things that are quite different, the actual skill of like glimpsing into the spirit world and knowing things you're not supposed to know remains the same across all systems. And I think tarot, well, I can't say, I think tarot is maybe the easiest one to learn, But I think that's partly because tarot is like woven into our culture. Like you see it in TV and movies. And so like even people who don't think they know anything about tarot, like if they grew up watching American TV, they kind of do know what a tarot reading at least sort of looks like. I mean, not that TV is a reliable guide to real life, but as opposed to like, you know, as a teenager, I guess I had heard of the I Ching, but like I didn't even know what an I Ching reading looked like. Like I didn't really know what it was at all. Whereas tarot is kind of hard to avoid. And so I think that's one of the reasons that it's easier to, like if I grew up in China, maybe I Ching seems really easy, right? That feels like it would be true. So yeah, so different decks read differently. We also cover several, like we also publish several oracle decks. And I'll tell you, those decks I was talking about where I feel like they push it a little far, sometimes I just read them as if they are oracle decks. Like sometimes I kind of ignore the fact that like this is supposedly the Three of Wands, and I just read whatever the actual card in front of me is. And our decks all come not just with our books come with whatever book they gave us, right? Like the artist or the publisher gave us, but usually it's not just the little tiny little white book that you get, like which has like 6 words of explanation per card because it has to fit in the box. It's like the big fancy book. We usually have those, which have like sometimes much more content and sometimes a lot more sort of like kind of personal explanation from the artist and the author about like why they chose these symbols and that kind of thing.
So that also kind of brings up another question for me that I've been thinking about lately too, even in terms of like astrology, is the relationship between intuition and rules. Because like with tarot, there's like really specific rules, but I feel like a lot of it is intuition as well.
Here's where I come at this from. Like, I think that first, I think our culture makes this sort of like artificial distinction between intuition and rules. Like you got that intuition from somewhere, right? And our intuition is built on top of like our experience of the world. And that includes like the book learning parts. And for tarot, the symbolism of tarot, like the rules, the little like table that I was talking about, that symbolism is like woven into our culture. Like, again, the fact that this has a picture of coins on it, so I bet it's about money. I mean, that is actually a really complex, like, rule about symbols and how they work. And like, also the things I'm talking about, I'm calling them coins. I mean, they're not even pictures of coins. They're just yellow circles with a star on them. But I'm so accustomed to like our culture's iconography for things that when I see them, I'm like, oh, that is obviously intended to be a gold coin, right? Okay, sorry, my thing is beeping at me. Whereas, like, think about how to say this. I think, okay, I'm going to give a little mini lecture on like epistemology or the science of knowing. So Aristotle basically says that there are 3 kinds of ways to know. Like there are essentially 3 ways to learn, right? Or like coming to knowing, epistemology, right? In Greek. And the first one he calls piste in Greek, which literally means faith. But I think that word is really loaded in our culture. So I just say trust. So like, I know that Paris is the capital of France, but I've never been to Paris, and I certainly have no like firsthand experience of French governmental whatnot. So I don't have like personal experience of Paris being the capital of France. I know that because people I trust told me that, but my knowledge is simply based on trust, right? So that's the first kind of knowing that he talks about, right? The next kind he talks about is called gnosis in Greek, which is a word that is used a lot in like our kind of circles. And I think sometimes is used in like, maybe that's not exactly what that word means, but certainly in ancient Greek sense, the way Aristotle means it, gnosis means like knowledge through direct experience. So like the sky is blue. How do I know that? Well, I'm actually like looking out a window at the sky right now, experiencing its blueness. Or like your shirt is blue. And how do I know that? This is actually a complicated one because we're on Zoom, so I could pretend I'm having a direct sensory experience of it, but I'm not actually. I'm having a very mediated technological experience of it. And I actually know for a fact that like the technology exists that you could be just digitally altering the color of your shirt. So there's also like a trust element there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right. But
yeah, and even like with the sky, like your perception of what blue is and another person's perception of what blue is could be different. You know, there's all other filters.
And that's an important feature of gnosis, that gnosis is like a direct sensory perception that does not in any way rely on other people. And that's true, right? We all know that not only like could we like I can imagine, okay, your shirt's pretty blue, so this isn't a great like metaphor, but we can imagine a person who'd be like, no, that's not blue, that's aqua, or like that's green, and you'd be like, okay, and like right, there's some fuzziness there, but there's also like colorblind people, right? And also I mean, I don't really have any, I don't know that the thing that is happening inside me when I look at blue is the same as the thing that is happening to you. I just know we use the same word blue to describe roughly the same like part of the color spectrum.
Yeah.
Right. And that's true about like mystic knowledge as well. That gnosis, right, in this sense, is like a direct knowing that came into your brain, like mediated only by your body and like the thing you're knowing about. But similarly, like our gnosis is not necessarily identical, mine and yours. And that's not necessarily a problem. It's just a thing about like Gnostic knowing. And then Aristotle's third category of knowing is what he calls diagnosis, which if you see it written down, it will be clear is the root of the English word diagnosis. And that means like gnosis actually has a G at the beginning of it. I know you can't hear that over video.
Yeah.
Also, I appreciate that you guys probably knew that, but there's an invisible audience I'm trying to remember, and I don't know what they know and what they don't.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Gnostic.
Yeah. And Gnostic is just the adjective for gnosis, and it starts with a G in English because, I don't know, wacky Greeks.
Yeah.
I mean, I speak Greek, so I guess I do know why. But like, gnosis is knowledge that you come to by reasoning, like, say, mathematical knowledge. Although I will say as a math teacher, like a sad number of people do not come to their math knowledge by reasoning. They come to it by pistis, by trust. Like a teacher told them some stuff and just made them memorize it. But that's not how that math teacher, like as a former math teacher, I'll tell you, that is not what that math teacher was supposed to be doing to you. Like that was incorrect math teaching. You were supposed to, it's supposed to make sense. You should be able to actually figure it out. And so I think like when we come to divination, when I teach divination or any kind of like fortune telling or scrying or like any kind of like mystic knowing, I always say that like I'm always thinking about those three categories that Aristotle has. I'm not saying that's the only way to break it up. It's just a like clean and easy one that I like. And I find that if those things are disagreeing with each other, right? Like if what I'm looking at in the picture and what the book says and what my, let's say, intuition, my inner teacher is saying, if they don't line up, probably I'm wrong about what they're saying, because they should, if it's true, they should be lining up. So for me, when they don't line up, that's kind of just an indication to like lean in and kind of examine why they are not leaning up. So I think like the rules and the intuition are in some sense like a check and balance against each other. Right. And it doesn't always work. As an experienced diviner, like I know maybe I'm not supposed to say this out loud on camera, so sorry for all the other diviners out there. But you know, there are times when I kind of just put the cards on the table because it makes it less creepy that I'm reading your mind. Like in our culture, if I was just like, ooh, and then I told them their future, which I can do, like that's my job, like it's creepy. But we have like this loophole in our culture where if I put some pictures, like some cards with pictures down first, it's somehow not creepy.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, especially if you're doing like, say, festival readings, where like you're doing a reading every 15 minutes, that's like a lot of wading through other people's psychic whatnot that I don't want to do. And the cards provide like a buffer.
That's cool.
For doing that. So they like it's like using any other tool. Like, look, I've been a 20-year-old in my first apartment, and I have definitely hung a picture by banging a nail into the wall with a frying pan.
Yeah.
But that was not really the right tool for that job. And when I used a hammer, I, 1, didn't hurt myself, and 2, didn't fuck up the wall or my frying pan. So like, that's how I think about tarot or astrology or any other kind of like tool that you're using for divination, or really tools in magic generally. It's just like the right tool for the right job makes the job easier, both in a like taxing way, like how much it takes out of you to do, like that kind of like woo stuff. It's exhausting and also terrible because you learn a lot of stuff about people that you didn't want to know.
Yeah.
Right. But like the cards help with that. Like they help make it easier, both in a less tiring sense and like you get out better results in that way. Right. Like you get more information, and so you can kind of like integrate that all together. So I don't think of intuition and the rules as being at any way at odds with each other. I will say, if I was using a new deck and it constantly felt like my intuition did not like match the rules, like the book that I had been given, at a certain point, as an experienced reader in particular, I might just imagine that the deck is bad, like it's not my fault. And I think that's a toss-up, right? For beginners, as my father would say, a bad craftsman blames his tools. But when you're like a more experienced reader, we all know some tools are just bad. But we don't, I will say at the Fool's Dog, I don't believe we publish any bad decks.
That's awesome.
Like there are decks I don't like exactly because like the art aesthetic is just not my thing.
Right.
But they're all good. They all read. I read with every deck we publish, as does Carolyn Kenner, like our publisher. Like everybody at the Fool's Dog is Jess, our programmer, is relatively new to tarot, but between the 4 partners, we have more than a decade of professional tarot reading experience. Yeah. And like we do vet all the decks we publish. So I stand by they're all good. Yeah. Even though obviously like I have some that I like better than others. Yeah. So these are all such good questions.
Oh, thank you. Well, these things we were thinking about, but I guess we should probably get to the Fool's Dog too. Sure. Like, so what is the Fool's Dog? How did you get involved in the Fool's Dog?
So the Fool's Dog is I'm going to make a bold claim, in some ways, the market leading publisher of digital tarot decks. So we don't publish the #1 best-selling tarot app on like the Apple App Store, but we do publish like half of the top 100 decks and like 3 or 4 of the top 10 decks. So we don't always look like a market leader because we have a lot of different apps, but that's actually about to change. So the new thing that we're just launching, all of our decks will be like all inside one app, which gives you like a lot of opportunities to do cool stuff like switch back and forth between decks and compare them. And like all your record keeping is put together. And I'll talk more about that when I'm actually, in just a little bit, I'll start screen sharing and you guys can see the actual app. So this app was designed in 2012, which is like forever ago in terms of like iPhone apps. Right? So it was developed by Jason Linhart, who's like a genius programmer, and my godmother, Caroline Kenner, who is a brilliant tarotist. And I think, honestly, it started because they wanted a project they could work on together, right? So they brought it out, and it was doing great. Caroline has a lot of like connections in the tarot community. So we publish a lot of like big decks. So for example, every Llewellyn digital deck is published by the Fool's Dog, which is also true of say Lo Scarabeo and many other like prominent tarot publishers. People don't always know because we don't actually like slap the Fool's Dog branding all over everything. So just like if you buy a book, unless you check, you probably don't even know who published it. It's the same with apps, right? Yeah. But then in 2017, Jason had a series of beginning in 2017, Jason had a series of strokes, unfortunately, that left him unable to program. And first, I fully understand because I'd be the same way. Like, it maybe took him a while to come around to the idea that like he had to bring somebody in to help with his baby, which I get, right? And as a testament to his genius programming, Like this app kept working despite the fact that no one was updating it for years. But eventually I came on board as managing, like I met them, and like I was actually already using the Fool's Dog before I met Caroline, and like I already loved it. But I actually didn't even know I was using the Fool's Dog. Like I was just using, I thought, a tarot app. Like who knows, right? But eventually I came on board as managing partner. I brought in my sister-in-law, Jess Robinson, also a genius programmer. And so we've got this new update. We did a lot of exciting things. And I think at this point, unless you have another question, I'm going to start showing the app, because I think a lot of what I'm saying about the app will make more sense as I start showing.
Yeah.
I'm going to start sharing my screen. This is the app. I'm going to let everybody know that, like, just because we're recording this before it's actually launched, what I'm actually showing you guys is the beta. So if, like, when you guys see this, there will be like little teeny tiny things that might be different, which I'm sure nobody but me would even notice. I just stare at this app all day long, so I notice. Let me also say, so what I'm showing you guys is the free tarot app from the Fool's Dog. So in the Apple iOS store, and there'll be a link down below or wherever, I don't know where this is, but there'll be a link to download this free app. It's called the Fool's Dog Divination and Tarot. And inside, and this is what the app looks like. So it's a free app. It comes with a free sampler deck, right? So I'm going to show you that deck real quick. I know I'm just like poking around menus real quick. I'll go back and show you guys in more detail. But just to give you an idea, this is the deck that it comes with, which is a sampler made out of like the 70 plus tarot decks that we carry. We actually carry almost 100 decks, but not all of them are strictly tarot decks like we talked about. Right. So I love reading with this deck because it adds like this new dimension.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that not only when you use different tarot decks, I always feel like, you know, there's a structure to them and they all have like their own voice. And the sampler is sort of like asking for advice from like a council of wise people instead of just one, which I really love, especially as a like more experienced reader. Like it's really easy to like sort of lean into that difference and extract out extra meaning.
I just had like a visual of like me combining all of my tarot decks and oracle decks into one big deck and like trying to like shuffle that and then pull a card from that.
Yeah, exactly. And so one of the things I love about the sampler is the way the code works. And I'll get like more nitty gritty into our super sexy randomization algorithm, which I think is like the, you know, a lot of tarot decks, when you actually look underneath the hood, you might as well be flipping a coin. But ours does like, as a mathematician, I'll tell you, ours does like a little bit more sophisticated stuff that like more closely replicates shuffling a deck. But the way this one works is it sort of like shuffles a generic deck first and then decides what deck to pull the card from. So like you'll never get, for example, like 2 King of Wands in the same reading, which as a person who does sometimes shuffle decks together, like sometimes you get a reading that has like more than one of the same card. And even though I know that obviously statistically that is going to happen, it always kind of freaks me out when it happens. So I kind of appreciate that this doesn't do that to me.
Right.
That can be significant though in a reading.
For sure. I mean, I do read. People sometimes ask like if I read reversals. When I'm reading, I read whatever happens. One time the smoke detector went off in the middle of a reading, and I interpreted that as like part of the reading.
Cool. Yeah.
In the Fool's Dog, one of the things I really like is that like if you dig through the settings menu, you can see that there's like all kinds of options. So I had reversed cards turned off, but I'll turn it back on. I can read only with majors. You can read with significators. If you don't know what a significator is, you shouldn't read with a significator. And if you do, you can turn them on, and you have like, you can either, there are like there are options inside the significators being turned on. But personally, I don't read with significators. You can change where you draw the cards from. I have it, I'm going to turn this off. You can have it draw the cards from. Like by default, it draws the cards face down and then you turn them over. But usually when I'm reading for myself, I just turn that off to save time. Similarly, you can actually skip all the extra like shuffling animations and go right to,
that's
you know, all kinds of like options. We have audio prompts, which I didn't, when I first started using this app, I was like, why? And I'll tell you, now that I own this app, a shocking number of blind people use this app. Like people who learned tarot and then lost their sight. Like they love it because like they can audio walk through it, and like in their head they know what the card looks like, so they can read it the way they always did. So I'm really proud of how like accessible the Fool's Dog is. Another thing is, I'll tell you, as a neurodivergent person, some apps, there's so much like beeping and blinking and animating and popping that I like don't even want to look at it. I throw the phone away. And we worked really hard to keep our interface super simple and like sort of quiet and like zen. My goal is really to like replicate the very traditional experience of like either reading cards for yourself or sitting across a table reading for someone else. And as someone who does frequently read for other people, especially like this across Zoom, it's actually like a whole hassle to read on Zoom because I don't have like some kind of fancy overhead camera setup that can like see the cards. So I end up having to like hold the cards up to this camera one at a time, but that means they can never see how the cards relate to each other. And here's a like tip for maybe like intermediate readers. Something that's really important to look at that like I didn't learn to do this for a while when I was learning is like you don't just read each card individually, like it's one whole tableau. And so like you want to look at like which characters are looking at other characters, or like sometimes it'll look like someone is like handing something from one card to another. And if they can't see the whole spread, then it's kind of hard to show them what I'm talking about. And that so the fact that you can so easily screen share while doing this online, like I'm doing now, I really love that for doing readings over Zoom.
Yeah, cool.
Right. In addition to doing readings for myself. And the other thing I will say is on a phone, like, look, I love this app. I make this app. I'm here to advertise this app. Like cards on the table, as we say, right? On a phone, is it the same as reading with paper cards? It's not. It's really, because it's really small. Right? So if you already know what the cards look like, no problem. And if you're coordinated, maybe no problem. But I'll tell you, if like my stubby little fingers moving the cards around the tiny screen, especially if I'm doing a reading with like 20 cards, it's not ideal. So for me, like having it in your phone means that I just always have decks in my pocket wherever I am. And so not only can I do like quickie readings, like I'm just either killing time for me, or I'm like with a friend and they want a quickie reading or something. But also I can like study the decks and read the books and learn about them. But on the iPad, which is what I'm using right now, it's just as good or better as cards on a table. Like the cards are big, you can see everything, etc. So I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to sort of wander around the app for a little while, and then I thought we'd do a reading together.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So I'm just going to show you. So there's a ton of options and stuff that I'm going to let people explore by themselves. I'm going to just show you guys the decks that we have, right? So this is the deck catalog. So you can see like we carry a lot of decks. Right? So in particular, all the like traditional style decks that I talked about, we carry them. And also sort of lots of other options, including some decks that are like quite out of print and hard to come by these days. So like the original Mythic Tarot is a tarot I really like. Which for whatever reason, I can't find it.
Is it the?
Yeah, I was saying before we went live that right now in this beta, sometimes things are alphabetized under T for the, but we fixed that in the actual app. Because it's in the like process. I don't know if you guys know this, but when you send an update to Apple, it's not like Apple's just like, okay. There's like a whole mess process that like Apple goes through that involves a lot of nonsense back and forth. And because we're recording this before the actual launch, it's like in the middle of that process. So this is a beta of the original. Anyway, so this is
also just it should be good to mention that when we do release this this will be.
Oh yeah, by the time you guys see this, this is live. And also, like, if you guys already have this free sampler app, it's going to automatically update itself to the new and improved one. Right? But if you guys already have other of our decks as apps on your phone, they're going to keep working. Like, we're not going to like take your old decks away. They'll keep working, right, as they are until, I don't know, probably until you buy a new phone that's new enough that Apple's like, no. Like, we can't, it's not under our control when Apple decides to pull something out of the App Store for being too old. But our experience is, like, I have apps on my phone that haven't been updated in a decade and they still work just fine. And so I imagine ours probably will too, right? It's quite, because our app was made by like professional coders who do like making apps is kind of like a fun side project for them. They make like big, complicated, serious programs. Our programming's quite robust. The randomization algorithms, like, you know, I don't even do the crunchy part. Like, I do the razzle dazzle tarot part, but I do have a master's degree in mathematics. So like our algorithms are pretty spicy. Like, they do a great job of like mimicking different kinds of card randomization.
Oh, right? You have the pair of trees, Dana.
We do. I love that deck. Let me show.
Yes.
Let me show people.
She's
because I own this company, I have all the decks on my phone, so I can show you cards, like more cards than from the sampler. Where'd it go?
So when you do pick a deck, you can kind of see them all. Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah. So like you can, I can. These are all the cards in this. This is Tarot of the Trees by Dana O'Driscoll. I love this deck. And I'll tell you, I really like the book that comes with it.
Yes.
Which is good, not only in a tarot sense, but also like teaches you about trees.
And yeah, she's an amazing writer and artist. I don't know how.
And like so a quite serious like
magician,
botanist, magician. Like she really
herbalist, maker.
If I had a question about a tree, that is who I call.
Yeah.
And my best friend is a professor of botanical medicine. But if I had a tree question, I would still call Dana.
Yeah.
We also have a ton of like built-in spreads, right? Some of these, I actually have some of them turned off because I don't always use all of them. But you can see there's a lot of them. And then if you like go through one, you know, it'll explain like what all the card meanings are.
Oh, cool. So
you can use these pre-made spreads, but you can also just kind of do what we call a freeform spread and put the cards wherever you want. Right. So I'm going to show you one of each kind. Instead of doing a real reading just to show off the app at first, I'm just going to like throw some cards out real quick so people see, and then we'll go back and do a real reading. Okay. So, you know, there's all these things to explore. Draw a card. I think that one's pretty straightforward. Today's card, the only difference between draw a card and today's card is that today's card gives you the same card all day long. You can also have like a today's card like widget on your home screen. So it's like today's card is just always there. The explore menu lets you like deep dive all the decks. That's for like studying basically. Okay. And also if you want to like find new decks to buy. So when you choose new reading, this is what pops up. So you can write anything you want right here. I'm on my iPad, so I'm using like a stylus to write, but it'll also pull up a keyboard if you want. Right. And you can also, I have voice turned off because we're recording right now, but you can also put your cards in voice. So I'm going to make an embarrassing declaration here, everybody. I tell students about the super importance of like keeping a tarot journal, but I'm not going to lie. I am pretty ADD and disorganized, and I just don't do a good job of record keeping. But what I love about the app is it does the record keeping for me. So even like whatever you put here, it's going to attach it to the reading in your like saved readings journal. And this is stored entirely on your device. So like nobody else, like even me, I can't see, and I own the app. Like the app is not sending your reading back to me. It's entirely on your device. We don't collect any data about our users at all. The only thing we do is like we pop up a little pop-up that says, would you like to sign up for our free email newsletter? Which I recommend because I write the newsletter and it's great. It's just free lessons in tarot, basically.
Nice.
And it has tons of sample readings and news spreads and also lots of beautiful tarot art. And it's free, so you should sign up for it. But that's the only like data we collect from you. We don't know what readings you did. We don't know what you said. So like you can write quite personal stuff in your journal, I guess that's what I'm saying. So you put whatever you want there. I'll say sometimes when I'm doing it for clients, sometimes I just write C Google Doc and then a code number just in case. And then I like send them my whole written shebang. So you can choose what deck you want to use. So I'm going to use the free sampler deck. So up at the top, you can pick which ones are your favorites. So if, like me, you have 100 decks on your phone, you don't have to dig through the list every time. Like in the options, you can choose favorites. So I'm going to use the free sampler. This is what comes with the free app. So this uses cards from all our different tarot decks, because the Oracle decks have like a slightly different format. They're just not in the sampler. And then I'm going to pick a simple one. So I'm going to do a past, present, future 3-card reading. So there's multiple kinds of shuffling and they do work differently, like behind the scenes, right? Like under the hood, the math for the different kinds is different. And there's also like some magic spells written into the code during the shuffling, which I think is like a fun touch. If anybody wants, at some point, I'll do like a really nerdy interview where I like talk about all the code stuff. We'll bring the coder on and do that as well.
I'm down.
So you can riffle shuffle like this. So just like regular riffle shuffling a deck of cards, this doesn't fully randomize the deck. Now, okay, that's kind of a lie because we actually fully randomize the deck every time you start a new reading. Like the cards aren't in order before you shuffle them and they're already randomized. But that's kind of, and then we have this kind as well, which we call like a wash, which like is a different kind of stochastically random. There's a cut option. I realize you guys can't see my stylus, but like you don't have to do all these different kinds. I'm just showing you all the options, right? So you can pick which pile you want.
Yeah.
So
middle.
I'll tell you, I actually always pick the middle one. I don't know why, but oftentimes when I'm doing a live reading for someone else, I like to let them pick. Yeah. Because I can't like have them physically cut. So that way, at least like they get into the mix a little bit. And then I draw. So I can pull out the cards one at a time, but I can also double click and it'll just throw them all out, which is nice when they're those really big readings, right? Again, we have it set to pull them face down, and then I can turn them over one at a time in like a dramatic fortune teller way. You could also just pull them face up to start with. So from here, you can see, right, I've got cards from different decks. If I click on each card, I'm saying click because I'm old, but this is a touch screen. I really just mean touch. I suddenly realized like all the 20-year-olds are out there like, oh, these fucking boomers. And I'm not even a boomer, guys.
I know.
Like, I'm Gen X. I'm just sad and old. Please take pity on us. So here we have the 10 of Wands reversed, not, you know, maybe the greatest card, but this wasn't a real reading. Like our question was sample question, right? And so you can see, like, you can zoom in on the cards, which is really nice. So like you can see here, like this sort of fine detailing that like I, at least with my old lady eyes, would not necessarily be able to see on a paper card, especially in some decks. Like we have some decks with like gorgeous art that when it's in the paper size, I can't even see all, like there were details I didn't even know about until I zoomed in. Yeah. And then you can see that like it's not just a little white book, like it's the full text of the book. This, okay, let me, full disclosure, this deck comparison thing here at the bottom, where it's telling you what is this deck, like this card in another deck, that's part of this particular deck's book. They don't all do that.
Okay.
But I'll show you guys, you can actually do that in the app. Right? You can flip through the cards here, but you could also go back to the main menu like this and see them.
All this art is gorgeous. It's so cool to see, like so vibrant.
I really love it. And you know, we were talking about this before, but I understand that commercial full color high gloss printing is expensive.
Yeah.
But decks, especially like indie decks, they're sometimes like $50 and
Right.
they're worth it. Like, I'm not saying they don't deserve that, but
Yeah.
also sometimes I want to like actually be able to play with a deck for a while before I drop $50 on it. And that's
Exactly.
another thing I love about the Fool's Dog is I get to play with the deck for a couple weeks for $4,
Yeah.
which between you and me, even if I decide I don't really like a deck, I definitely got $4 worth of fun out of playing with it until
sure.
I like got bored and moved on to a new toy, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's a very, I have this fantasy of like making a television advertisement, which this is not the kind of company that runs TV ads. Like, I'm not. Every time I say I make an app, I feel like a class trader, but like, this is not the kind of company, guys. But I have this fantasy of like a person who's like, treat yourself. And then it's like a bowl of ice cream. And they're like, that's bad for me. Or like, treat yourself. And like, whatever. Oh, that's bad for me. Like an 8-ball of Coke. Oh, that's bad for me.
Yeah.
Like, Fool's Dog deck. Hooray. Like,
Yeah.
$4 treat. That's good for me. Good for the planet. Right.
Yeah.
So I was saying what you can do if, say I am learning and I don't really understand these pictures, not these because these are gorgeous and I feel like quite clear,
Yeah.
but I can also like switch to any deck that I own, right? So like, for example, I can switch the reading to the RWS deck because when I'm reading with a new deck and I see a 10 of Wands, I'm like, is that the one with that sad guy carrying all the sticks?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, right. And I just want to see it for a second and then go back.
That's so helpful.
This also kind of brings the question to me too about like, are all the deck like they're all tarot decks, but they each have their own language too, you know?
Yeah, they definitely each have their own voice. And that's why I think it's really fun to read with the sampler.
Yeah.
Because you get all those different voices.
Yeah.
Now, I will say for beginners, the sampler is like, don't be intimidated. The sampler is indeed harder to read than reading a single deck. So like, if you get the free app and play with the sampler and you're like, oh, this is so hard, like, I encourage you to also like pick up the RWS or any other deck. It is easier, but for experienced readers, I think reading with the sampler is real. First, it's fun because it like shakes you out of your rut. Like, you have to kind of think differently because weird stuff is going on between different decks. And also you get to like see all the different decks. And then if you like one, you know, you can pick up that deck. From a business standpoint, I like that part of it. Right, let me go back to the sampler. Okay, so we're back at the sampler. Oh, and if you switch from the sampler and come back, it'll give you the same cards. Like, even though there's more than one Princess of Cups, it gives you back the one you had. The other thing, you can also change the reading cloth, and we have so many reading cloths to choose from.
Oh.
You can also upload your own photos to use as a reading cloth. So like this one here with like the covered bridge, I was actually doing a reading about that bridge for someone.
Okay.
Which is like near their house. That like they had a question about the bridge, basically. I'll tell you though, I personally just like the plain color ones.
Yeah.
Something I do though is sometimes I make, and this is something that happens in the newsletter, I'll like make basically a template for a reading that you can use as a reading cloth and put the cards onto. So if you sign up for the newsletter, you get a bunch of those templates. The other thing, you can switch decks, and then you can also, sorry, the Zoom box is like right on top of the menu right now. That's why I keep having to like play around. You can also share the reading. So I'm just going to show you like what it gives you. Oh, I actually can't do that without sharing it to somebody, but I'll show you in a second. Right? There's a journal, right? So you can just write whatever you want here, like your own notes.
Nice.
But then it also automatically records for you in your journal every reading you've done. And you can see it shows an image. It shows like all the text from the book. And then I don't think I actually saved those notes, so they're not here because I didn't hit save, my bad. But if I had, like, my notes would be here as well. Shows the sample question and the date, which I'm always forgetting to write down in my journals. It's really important to date your journal entries, guys. So but again, I'm like a sloppy human and I don't actually always do that. And that's one of my favorite things about this new format is that now that all your decks are in this app, like your journal has all of your readings in it.
So great.
And I love that. So do you guys have any questions? Do you want to like see more of the app? Do you want to try a reading together?
Yeah, I just have one question before the reading is when you're doing readings for folks that are online and they can't be in the same room with you to maybe like shuffle the deck or to incorporate their own energy into it, how do you personally call in their energy?
Well, so for me, there's two different situations. If I'm over a video chat, then I feel like I am calling their energy sort of with their voice and their photo, their presence. And like, I make sure that they're like involved. Like I said, I let them do the cutting, which I don't really let other people handle my deck that much. I know I'm saying people shouldn't.
Yeah.
And it's not like a witch reason that I don't hand my cards to let people shuffle them. It's because people mess your cards, like physically don't know how to shuffle cards and they bend the cards up. If you if every time I read for a client, I let them shuffle the cards, my cards would fall apart.
Right.
So true. I'm not really doing that in person either. So I feel like the video chat fully calls it. But sometimes I do like a written reading for someone. And so in that situation, I'm not necessarily pulling their energy in. It's as if I was doing a reading for myself, like, and I wanted to know what my boss was thinking.
Gotcha.
Like, I'm still connecting to a situation. And the way I do it is I like work with I call in other spirits. Who are like not bound by time and space. Right. To basically go spy on things and that's kind of report it back to me. That's honestly, for me at least, that's basically what I'm doing in person too. Yeah. Cool. And I would have thought it was much harder to like psychically read a person over Zoom than it was in person. And I'll tell you, it is it's harder. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's harder. Sometimes that's nice. Like, I don't actually necessarily want to feel everything they are feeling the whole time. But, once you get the hang of it, like during pandemic, I just did a ton of it and pretty fast. It's not actually that hard. Like an open video link, like an open video chat is actually a very, very strong sympathetic link. Like, it's as good as like holding a vial of somebody's blood. Like, you have a live video of them. Sure. You know what I mean? So, and not just for divination, like also for sorcery, like a live video. Like, if I wanted to enchant you right now, it'd be pretty easy. Yeah. You who I'm live video conferencing with, you at home in the recorded audience. Not impossible, but harder. Yeah. Right? But that's a great question. And again, I really like how easy it is to like screen share. Yeah. In Zoom. Like, there's really no trick to it. You just screen share. The only reason it took a while is because I wanted to make sure all my notifications were off. Because, like, to the audience, I thought it would be very embarrassing if a notification popped up in the middle of doing this. Right? Yeah. But it's super, you just like hit screen share and open the app. There's no trick to it. I often actually, this app is made for iPhone and iPads, any kind of iPhone, any kind of iPad. It also works fine on my MacBook Pro. Like, the iPad version will actually run on a MacBook, even though the description says it won't. Oh. Like, because for whatever reason, Apple has like extra hoops you have to go through to get approved for MacBooks, and we just haven't done that because it only works on newer MacBooks. But I will tell you, it definitely, like, if you just hit the button that says this isn't going to work, is that okay? And you're like, yep, okay. It will work, I assure you. Yeah. At least it works fine on mine, and I have a MacBook Pro, but it's probably 5 or 6 years old at this point, and it works fine. The app is also available for Android. As of right now on Android, it's still the old system where every deck is its own app, but we're gonna that will be updated eventually. But for right now, we're focusing on iOS, which is based just on user feedback. Like, we have a lot more Apple users than Android users. Is there anything else like you guys want to see before we just do a reading?
I guess the last thing I don't think we mentioned was the journal. You can also upload readings that you've done on the app, right?
That's true. Yeah, let me show you how to do that. So if, say, I did a paper reading. Yeah. I'm saying a paper reading, but like just a reading anyway that wasn't in this deck. What I can do is I can go in a new reading, choose enter external reading.
Hmm.
And then just when I go to pick a card, it'll just give me a list. So like maybe the first card was the Chariots, right? And I can pull it, I can like, you know, turn them around.
Cool.
I know you guys can't see my hands maybe, but I'm just 2-finger turning things the way you'd turn anything.
Nice.
On a phone or an iPad, right? You put them wherever you want. You can also like zoom way out if you want to do like gigantic readings.
Oh, wow.
that's awesome.
Like I'm gonna say they can be infinitely big, but I don't think, I mean, I'm sure there's some upper limit, but you could definitely get it big enough to put all 78 cards down.
Wow.
If for some reason you wanted to do that, right? And then again, like I'm just gonna maybe, right, put one more card out. I'm just picking all major arcana because they're at the beginning of the list, so they're faster, right? And then when I like am done, and if I wanted, I could add some notes, right? And one thing I would say to write here is the date the reading was done. Sorry, I'm not very good. Oh, good job knowing my handwriting. It does a pretty good job, I will say, which I can't take credit for.
Yeah.
You know, the handwriting, that's just Apple did that. Like I didn't write that part. The only thing I would write down the reading only because I'm sorry, I'm like choking for a second. Because in the journal, like it's just going to know the date you put it in. If you tell it some other date. Like it is a tarot reading app, but it can't actually read your mind. So you do have to tell it when you right. Cool. Right. And then you can see like there's the reading. I didn't give a reading question, so it thinks the question is what I put in the journal. Date reading was done. Yeah. Sorry. I actually don't always now that I am used to Fool's Dog, I honestly do most of my readings on Fool's Dog rather than with a paper deck. Cool. So I actually don't. It's in there. Yeah, like mine are just automatically in there. Okay,
what is this chat feature?
Oh, this is sadly not a chat feature. It's just like you can chat with us. I mean, you can send us some comments. You could rate us. That would be great. You can click the help me button and write me an email. And I'm the one who answers the tech support mostly. So you're talking to me.
Nice.
Which please remember, guys, that this is like a small 4-person family company. So like if you send me a tech support email at 6 a.m., like I'm maybe not going to answer you immediately. And please just, take a deep breath and remind yourself there's actually no such thing as a tarot emergency. And okay. But I do answer. I mean, I call them tech support because that's mostly what they are. But sometimes people just ask like tarot questions, and I, try and give them a short. Obviously, I cannot answer every email from every person on the internet I get about tarot. But if it's something I can just answer, then I just answer it, right? So I'll like recommend a book or whatever. I can't give readings I can't read the cards for you unless I guess you want to pay me to do that. You can pay me to do that.
Right.
But
right.
one thing I want to stress is like the app is not designed to replace a human tarot reader. It is replacing a deck of cards. Like you, a human being, is still reading the cards. And we give you like more wraparound sort of support, like the additional books and the ability to like cross-reference decks and stuff like that. So there's like educational support, but we're not trying to read the cards for you as if we're like a magic 8-ball, right? This is a tool for human readers to do readings for themselves and other humans. Or I suppose you could do a reading for a robot if you wanted. Or a ghost. But like we're not going to have like AI read the cards for you or whatever kind of garbage that is. In the same boat, we do not publish AI decks. All of our decks are like made by human artists and human authors. And also
I can't even believe we have to say that, like, in the sense of like the AI is making tarot decks, you know what I mean? Like that's just so wild.
It's really terrible because I'll show you like, okay, so this is one of my favorite tarot artists. His name is Ciro Marchetti. We carry actually several of his decks, and he's like a big name artist or whatever. Like he does other art in addition to tarot. But like, okay, look, this deck is, I don't know, 15, 20 years old. It's definitely not made by AI, but AI has like eaten so much of his art.
Oh no.
That like now kind of like some AI kind of like on first glance looks like his, and it's like a real problem.
That's horrible.
Yeah, that's a weird thing. I was watching a video and I was like, is this AI? Is this AI? And then I looked and it was like, it was from 5-10 years ago, before there was AI. And I was like, oh, that's kind of creepy though. If you can't, like, now, it used to be just like a few months ago where it was hard to tell. I mean, it was very easy to tell the difference. And now it's getting even harder and harder.
Right.
Here's what I will say. Like, look, sometimes the pictures fool me.
Yeah.
Like, until I really look very hard.
Yeah.
But the writing never fools me.
Yeah.
Because I'm a writer. And so I look at it and I'm like, that was obviously written by a robot. But my artist friends, when they look at AI images, they're like, this is obviously drawn.
That's so funny. Yeah.
Right.
You know, whereas like maybe I'm just not a sophisticated consumer of art. Or like the music. AI music, like between you and me, honestly, 70% of all pop songs sound like they were written by robots to me.
Yeah.
From all time. But my musician friends can immediately hear the difference and they're like, oh God, this is terrible.
Yeah.
Like, even if you don't tell them that it's AI, they're just like, this is bad. I'm like, oh yes, it was written by a robot.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. So, and I've said this before, but like, if anybody listening to this is like making your own deck, when you if you decide to sell your deck to a publisher instead of self-publish, in your contract, there will be a part about selling your digital rights as well. Don't do it. Just say no. And they'll just let you. They don't really care. Because if you do, like if you sell your digital rights to, say, Llewellyn, which is a great publisher, like this is not a bad thing about Llewellyn. Llewellyn digital decks are produced by the Fool's Dog. So they're going to take your deck, sell it to us. We're going to pay them a 50% royalty, and they're going to pay you 10%. So just keep it, and you can sell it to us, and we will pay you 50%, which for people who don't know is by a wide margin the highest royalty in the business. So for example, on books as an author, I make between 10 and 15%, which is industry standard. So 50%, like we pay the highest royalty. Something I'm really proud of that we do is sort of two things. Like we are in this business because we love tarot, right? Like we're not like Audible for tarot books or for tarot decks, right? We love fucking tarot and we want to be able to do tarot on the computer and also everywhere else. Right. And so but you know, a lot of our elders, like people, you know, 1 or 2 generations older from us, they in tarot, but also more broadly in like paganism and the occult, they spent their whole life and their whole career like opening doors for us to make our lives possible. But that did not come with a retirement plan. And some of them are like financially struggling. And so one thing I love is that Fool's Dog can take those like old decks, those legacy decks with like important like witch elders, right? Rachel Pollack, Janet Farrer, and like we can take their existing stuff and like give them a new way to make some money out of it. And similarly for like emerging artists, we can do the same thing. Because I know like there's a joke about, oh, starving artists, but I'll tell you, it's actually really hard to make art when you're starving.
Yeah.
And so the Fool's Dog is a way to like directly pay artists and authors. And I'm really proud of doing, like, that's one of the reasons we're in this business, is because like, look, as an author, an artist, like it's the whole digital thing. It's like not that easy. Like I could not, and again, I have a master's degree in mathematics. So, but I could not have made this app for myself. Like it's hard, crunchy programming, and like artists can't always do that themselves. So like we work with them to help. And that's really what I think of as our primary business, is like we help artists and authors transition their decks into a digital space. Cool. Right. So let's see. Okay, so let's do a reading. I think just to show off like how easy it is, I'm gonna like pretend to be a robot and just do whatever you tell me to do in this app.
Well, so do you think we should do a reading just for like the general audience? What do you think about those kind of readings?
Here's the thing. Let me think about how to, I'm going to say some stuff and perhaps you can choose to edit it out. I feel like at this particular moment in time, those kind of general readings can sometimes turn into like doom speaking.
Yeah.
in a way that I don't feel the need to do. So if we're going to do a general reading, I say let's do it about something like light and fun. And not like, dear universe, what will the world be like in 3 years? And it's just like,
yeah, I mean,
not that I think the world is terrible. I'm just saying.
The world probably ain't going to be much better than it is now in 3 years.
I think we can confidently say that at any point in human history, if you look at the next 3 years, there's going to be some terrible stuff. And also, I think we are not at like the lightest, funnest, happiest moment in history.
Sure. Yep. Well, then should we do a read? Like,
do you want to do a reading for me?
Sure.
Okay, so let me think. Okay, here, I'm going on a trip next week.
Yeah.
So let's just read about like how will my trip go.
Okay.
Oof, and then when it's doom speaking, it'll be like really embarrassing. So I will say I'm not very worried about this trip. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is like
choose. Oh, we write the name, Sarah's Craft.
Just write anything you want. You know, if I were not right now, I have my iPad kind of propped up because I'm also shooting video, guys. So it's actually like not that easy to write on the screen.
Right.
But we could write much more details there. But it's already going to have the date automatically. So probably that's all I have to write. So now we're going to pick a deck. You guys can pick any deck you want.
All right. Let's see.
What's the Prairie Tarot?
You want to try that one? The art's pretty.
Can we look at the Prairie Tarot?
Yep. Sorry, I hit the wrong. I'm going to show you a couple cards from this. You actually can't look at the decks inside the reading here without pulling them.
Oh,
yeah.
So do you want to, we can go look, you want to go look at some decks and then come back to the reading?
Kind of.
Honestly. Yeah, no, that's smart. Let's look at some reading. So I'm sorry, we should, normally, because I own the company, I have every single deck on my phone. I think most people don't have as many. So you can set your favorites. These are the ones I read with the most. You can see I'm really pretty boring. So Isis Tarot is actually just a Marseille Tarot. Liberty is basically a Thoth Tarot, the sampler. And then Tarot exclamation point is RWS.
Okay.
Right.
Nice.
But we've got, okay, so you wanted.
So the Prairie deck first was the one that I was curious about. And then, oh, cool. Wow. Oh my goodness.
So that's a cool one. If you like this one, let me show you another couple that I think are also really cool and in some ways similar to that. I always have trouble remembering what the decks are named. Where'd it go? Here we go. This is a pretty cool one.
Oh, nice. Which one's this?
This is called Ma'at Tarot.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Okay, Housewives. I'm going to show you this one.
What is Housewives?
It's this pulp style.
Cool.
And I gotta say, when I first looked at it, I was like, ooh, that's not for me. Like, it's
but
cool.
It's super fun, yeah.
But it reads really, like, this is a shockingly good deck. I don't mean this as an insult. I'm just saying, like, when you first look at it, you're like, oh, this is a fun toy, but it actually reads really well. Especially about, like, kind of domestic type stuff.
Yeah.
Like, if you're reading about, like, family or home or whatever, it reads really well on those.
I wonder if there's one that's kind of, like, travel-y, because you're going on a trip,
Oh, interesting.
Like
what's a good travel one?
I wonder.
Oh, okay. This is a deck I really like. It's not especially. This is called Cosmic Tarot.
That's gorgeous.
I really like this one. I think it's super cool.
I wanted to see one at the bottom. Oh,
I know I went fast.
The Lion Strider.
Oh, Lion Strider's cool. It's like very, like, almost minimal art like this.
Nice. It's
gorgeous. One of the ones that really benefits from, like, zooming in.
Yeah, I see that.
But it might not. Maybe I'm gonna say that only because we're, like, filming. Because these are not as great because you kind of have to zoom them in a little.
Okay.
To see what's going on. I don't know that they'll play as well on camera.
Yeah.
What else is this one's really pretty Fairytale tarot. I quite like this one.
Cool. Sounds
And
very
I'm going to
memorable.
England, so maybe
I
this is kind of a cool fairy tale.
Yeah, you're going to England and
yeah, I'm gonna go see my
like,
brother in England, and my sister-in-law, the programmer for full time.
Oh, awesome.
So this could be a cool deck.
Yeah, I like that one. And then Justice had, it was a woman with a bunch of geese, like me and Dana, are crazy goose ladies.
Boadicea. Okay, this deck, Boadicea's Deck of Earthly Delights, I believe it to be called, or Garden of Earthly Delights. It's so cool. It's by Paula Millet.
Oh my goodness.
It's like collages. It's digital collage of traditional art.
Are you serious?
She's a museum curator, so like it's amazing.
Oh my
this is a super cool deck. It's named after Boadicea, like a famous British queen who fought against Roman imperialists.
Yes.
And it's really fun. One thing I love is that the borders are color coded. So like the majors are red and like discs, which in this are called fungi.
Yeah, I like this. I'm kind of drawn to that one with the borders and all the colors. And
yeah, I love this deck. Let's use this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, okay. So I'm just going to go back to reading. We're going to pick the deck, which was Boadicea. Here we go. So do you want to use a preset spread, or do you want to just like put cards where you want to put them?
Maybe one of the preset. Leap across the abyss is interesting because
that seems
that's
cool.
Like hopping across the pond to
info
England.
We can like see. Oh, this seems good, right?
Yeah, yeah.
This seems like a good reading. All right,
that's a good one.
There we go. Okay, so what
that's
kind of
the
shuffling?
Back?
Yeah, that's the back. And
good.
If you buy the like fancy paper edition, it comes with like a cool box with I love that back design. I like want that back design.
Love it.
I want to wear it. I love everything about it.
Yes, totally.
Awesome. Yeah, so we got lots of different kinds of shuffling. Do you have a preference?
How about cut? And then you can choose which stack you want, which
I usually always pick the middle, but I'm gonna change things up.
Sweet.
There we go. Cut.
And review.
And you want to start drawing?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to draw. I'm just going to draw them all at once, but you can. You can pull them out one at a time slow for like dramatic effect if you prefer. And then do you want me to turn them all over at once, or do you want to like do them one at a time?
All at once, I'd say.
There we go. Oh, so many reversals. Okay. So because we don't know this spread, I'm going to click on the cards. Right? Oops. Sorry. As I mentioned, it's my iPad is tipped up, so it's really easy to hit the wrong button. So, okay, so this is where do I start? And we've got the 7 of combustion, which is the 7 of wands.
Nice. I like that the question is right there with
I like how it like walks you through the spread. And so like I'll just zoom in a little bit. You'd see all the like this is another deck that like really benefits from being able to like zoom in on like all the bits. Right? So there's that one. Next, what is hidden? The Queen of Fungi. Fungi are like discs.
Okay.
Or sorry, are like wands reversed.
Cool.
The 9 of Tentacles, which is cups, even though it sounds like tentacles.
Yes.
There's a lot of tentacles in this deck. I will say tentacles are my favorite suit in this deck. I just think the art's dope. So who helps me? 9 of Tentacles. What do I fear? 5 of Tentacles. I'm just showing all of them, and then like we can come back through them. 5 of Fungi. The reverse. I don't like that one. Oh, but I'm giving that up. Great.
Okay,
what must I take with me? Not the Emperor, apparently.
That's an Asparagus.
Yeah, isn't it great?
Yeah.
Like this deck has such an amazing like just sense of humor to it, but it really has like such a depth. I really love this deck.
Yeah, this is awesome.
6 of Ether.
Beautiful.
7 of Tentacles. What will I find? Where do I? And then we're back to the beginning. So do you want to go through the cards one at a time, or do you want me to go? Let me go back and show you the whole thing at once real quick.
Yeah, so the yellow cards are air.
Yellow is fire.
Oh, fire.
Red is major, not fire.
Okay.
Green is earth, is pentacles, fungi. This teal blue color is water, tentacles. And this other blue, which this is my only complaint about this deck. Those colors could maybe be a little more different.
Yeah.
This is air. That one.
Nice.
Ether.
Okay. Very cool.
And then as we click on them, it'll tell us what each one is.
Yeah.
Right. So do you want to go through them one at a time again?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so where do I start? The 7 of combustion. And then I'm gonna real quick, I didn't show you guys this before, but you can like mix and match the books. And for a complicated technical reason in the beta, this book's deck is not here. So these are our universal meanings. So these are sort of intended to be used with all of our decks. They're written by Caroline Kenner. They work quite well across all the decks, but they are mostly for Smith Rider-Waite style decks, which this is. So then I know you guys probably don't need the little book, but like here we've got a little book.
Cool.
This reading is really calling me out.
Oh my gosh.
I love it.
It says, have you been running away from responsibilities? Like, have you not packed yet?
I definitely have not packed yet. And I promise though I'm not like embezzling.
Yeah.
Okay, what is hidden?
Queen of Wands.
So volatile and emotionally controlling, the Queen of Wands reverse lies and manipulates her way through life. When she can
Obviously, I am not even a little bit like that.
Ooh.
This woman never forgets a slight, seeks revenge.
Man.
Well,
I love hidden.
Yeah,
in my defense, guys, I do keep my volatile, emotionally controlling self hidden.
There you go. Yeah.
Do I sometimes feel feelings?
Do we all feel feelings?
That mark that like is this text an accurate summary of my hidden internal things that I'm now regretting letting you read on camera? Oh my gosh. Well, I should have picked a deck. I'm like, oh, this one's like I think like no, this deck's great. It knows me really well. Yeah, sure, that's fair. But I keep it hidden.
Right. And then and this is about the trip.
Right.
As well. So
who helps me? This guy, the 9 of Pentacles. Prudent wealth management and astute business dealings support a stable and contented life. A comfortable home, beautiful garden is a haven. So I think this is speaking to like where you're going, like who you're staying with and stuff, you know, like
it is. I mean, I'm gonna go see my brother and my sister-in-law, who is also my Fool's Dog business partner. So
exactly.
Great.
And you've established financial security, you know. This is really cool.
Do not dismiss wealthy occult practitioners as dilettantes.
Yeah, I was just reading that.
I do that. That's fair.
Oh my gosh.
Like it's calling me out again. I do that.
Well, yeah. Well, that's good. Maybe you'll probably meet some wealthy occult practitioners who help you out.
Yeah.
And I will be very careful not to treat them like a dilettante.
Yes.
I won't even call them capitalist scum to their face.
Well, they could. I mean, if you're going to England, they could be old money. Maybe they're not even. They're just like.
I think feudalist scum might be worse.
Okay, that would make more sense than for
those aristocrats.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that good rich people exist.
This one.
Anyway, these cards are really calling me out.
Yeah.
5 of Pentacles reversed. Don't be afraid to take a short-term contract that offers a possibility of advancement. Even if the job isn't permanent, it can help you get to the next level. If you have lost something, it will return. Has your interest in spirituality recently reawakened?
Oh, the feels, right in the feels.
Yeah. And you're going to this like this place in England, you know, this very spiritual place, you know.
Oh, so
for sure. And also, I mean, here's some context that I can see in this reading, but you guys might not know.
Yeah.
I'm actually planning on moving to England next year.
Right.
So this like don't be afraid to take a short-term contract.
Yeah.
Like maybe I'm gonna start working on that in this trip.
Wow, that's so cool.
Right.
Yeah. And do I fear that? I definitely do. This whole situation is terrifying.
That's a big change.
Yeah.
I'm a hobbit who never wants to go anywhere, but I just want to be closer to my family, you know?
Yeah.
And my brother married, like, I didn't grow up in England or anything, but my brother married a British girl 20 years ago. That's how, like, my brother lives in England.
Right.
So what do I have to give up?
So what do you have to give up?
Beware disputes within a formerly close group. Ooh.
Trigger your selfish ends.
Try not to be involved in any way. Step back.
If you see messy, what must you give up?
So instead of, there's that what is hidden, there's the desire to, like, maybe retaliate for some slights. So you got to give that up and be patient and let that resolve itself.
Which I'm gonna do. Tarot cards, thank you for that always helpful reminder. I'm not gonna fight with my brother on this trip, because who would ever fight with their sibling?
Yeah, right.
We'll be fine, but really, remember how I was like, let's do something light and fun, and then this deck is just reading me for filth. It's like an embarrassing reading to be doing on the air.
It's fine. I mean, I think it's really interesting, and
no, it's fine. I mean, look,
great.
I don't think it could possibly be a shock to anyone that sometimes I have messy, complicated feelings about my family with whom I'm also in business.
Of course.
We love each other and I love working with family, but also, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
Right.
And so now we've got the Asparagus.
What must I take with me, which is the Emperor reversed?
Misuse of authority, emotional tyranny, and lack of self-control manifest when the Emperor is reversed. Beware of possible injury or theft. Is there an emotionally immature man in your life who remains in bondage to his parents financially or emotionally, even as an adult?
I will not comment on that. But like everyone, yes, there is. One might even say more than one of them. I have a type.
I see.
So they're not coming on the trip.
Or they are coming on the trip. And what will you experience?
Also, like, they're not coming on the trip literally, but I will say, I get you. I hear you. Deck. I won't bring them with me.
Yes.
Like, I'm not gonna anxiously worry about boys on this trip.
Yeah.
So what will I experience? The 6 of Ether reversed, which is two people in a boat propelled by moth wings. And a little dog too.
Yep.
This cling to the past does not support a healthy present, nor does it lay the groundwork for a successful future. Denial about unhealthy ways of living, engaging in the relationships based on need, cherishing outward ideas or habits, all of these will limit and constrain the future.
What will I experience? Yeah.
So,
well, forewarned is forearmed. That maybe there's like a low-key family drama on a trip.
Yeah.
Which, look, I love my family, and my family's quite functional. But I think every adult who, interacts with their family of origin understands that clinging to the past does not support a healthy present.
Sure.
Is a thing that maybe comes up when you visit out of town family.
Yeah.
And also, like, the fear of moving there, and of like everything that you might have to like give up to do that, like clinging to the past of being here is also going to be really present for you as you visit there.
Yes, that's totally true. I hadn't even thought of it that way. That's smart. That's true.
Could be.
You're very good at this. What will I find? There's so many reversed cards in this.
I know.
It's interesting.
It might be because I'm just gonna, dear audience, like, I'm not telling you how to read cards. But for people who are less familiar, there's a lot of ways to interpret reversed cards.
Yeah.
And like in the book here, we're interpreting them as, in some ways, like the opposite of what it would mean if it was right set up. Not exactly, right? But when there's a lot of reversed cards in a reading, I at least tend to understand that to mean that, like, the cards are like in play, but they're not quite like fully manifest yet.
Okay.
Right. So to
you can
me,
still change
reading,
some of this. Yeah.
right. To me, a reading with a lot of reversals in it is still a reading that's kind of like quite moving around. Like it's still quite
unfixed karma.
Right.
I
Which
like
is
to
good.
read.
So I'm glad we did this reading. It's like
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting a lot of good.
So if you still have time, you should do a little bit more preparation.
I will definitely get my emotional shit in order before this trip. Thank you very much.
So you have here, what will I find? The Seven of Pentacles reversed. So do not be surprised if your harvest is meager. Next time, work harder and more consistently if you want to produce a good result. So, I mean, I wonder if it maybe your expectations won't of certain goals of the trip might not be met at this trip, but
was I too impatient and lazy to lay the groundwork for a good outcome? Yes, maybe
I was.
But that's okay. I'm not leaving for a week, so
still got some time.
I will sort all this stuff out.
Yeah.
I mean, also, dear audience, this is not really a bad reading. Like there are cards that could be like, this isn't like something bad happens. This is just like regular trip family drama.
And it's good to know like what might come up for you emotionally.
Exactly. Physically. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been thinking about this trip so much in terms of moving.
Yeah.
That I honestly didn't really think about the whole family drama aspect, which is like we get along fine, but for all of us, look, I'm not gonna move in with them when I move to England, but on this trip I am gonna be staying with them for quite a while, and that's a lot, and maybe I'm gonna carefully prepare and not be lazy or impatient about it.
So I mean, we can also not publish this if you'd rather not to. We could do a different reading.
I'm kidding. Look, guys. I can't speak to other people's lives, but if a tarot reader were to tell me that everything in my life is going to go great and there will be like no drama and no issues, that is obviously false. And for people who don't read tarot, none of these are bad cards. No. Like there's no death, there's no tower, nothing's on fire. Like there's no actual problem. There's just an extended family trip, which is expensive.
Yes.
And has some business drama and some family drama. And that's kind of truthfully what I would expect from this. That's what I expect from life, right? Like as a person who doesn't have a lot of family left, I'm never sad to have family drama because I think not having family drama just means you don't have family.
Exactly.
Like families are kind of dramatic, At least I don't know anybody who like could go stay with their brother for a month and there would be like no friction or drama. Right. That's just life. And we get along quite well compared to I think some families. So no, but to people who don't know tarot, I know I kind of jokingly made it seem like this was a doom riddled reading, but it's not. It's embarrassingly accurate. Like it called me out on like, are you sloppy and don't plan well? And if you think about it, this whole time we've been talking, I've been like, I'm pretty sloppy and I don't plan well. That's why I love this journal. That's why I like that the app does it for me because I'm not great. So it's true, cards. You know me very well. And so and for people who are skeptical, you can see that like this was
pretty detailed.
It was detailed and accurate, and we went through it real fast and just like read the quickie meanings. But like if we were to go back, like we could spend an hour on this reading and just pull all the detail out, and that's the beauty of tarot. I think,
that was really cool to see.
No asparagus for me. It's a shame. I love asparagus. It's asparagus season. So one thing we could do, which I'm just showing to like show off the app, but I don't think we necessarily have to do, is like if we wanted, we could pool like additional, like maybe we didn't understand this card and we just want a little bit of a clarification. Like we can pool another card onto it. Oh, I'm just gonna make this one big because I think this is one of my favorite cards. I just think it's really pretty.
Fun guy.
I just really like this card. I love this deck.
Yes, this is a good deck.
Yeah. So again, this is called Boadicea's Garden of Earthly Delights.
I like the surreal element.
Me too. It almost feels like dreams.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
my dreams were being illustrated by all the best artists who have ever lived.
Yeah.
Right. Like if my dreams were being curated by an art museum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's like it's surreal, but it's not kitschy or like I don't know.
Very well
it's
done.
well done. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that deck. The book is really good. Caroline Kenner actually wrote the book for that deck. So I'm just going to show off some more decks because we're talking about like how they have different styles. So let me preface this by I'm just going to show you some that I particularly like. It's not like I recommend every deck we publish because if I didn't, we wouldn't publish it. Like if there were ones I thought we were bad, I wouldn't publish them.
Yeah.
Dark Goddess Tarot by Ellen Lorenzi Prince.
Oh, wow.
This art style is not something I would have picked out necessarily.
Yeah.
Right.
But Caroline showed me this deck and she was like, it's so, so good. You have to read with it. And it's true. I will say that this is one of the ones where like, perhaps particularly in like the minor arcana, sometimes the choice of like what spirit is put with like what card. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's not the way I would have done it. So I will say sometimes I read this deck as if it is an oracle deck. Like I kind of rely. But one of the things I love about this deck is that, you know, every card is a different goddess.
Nice.
So sometimes as a professional tarot reader, like I have to give bad news.
Right.
Sure, yeah.
And when I do that, sometimes I want to do another little mini read because I don't just want to give them a bunch of terrible. Like if I had given a client that reading, which was not terrible, but was not great.
All blossoms and rabbits.
Right, exactly. Something I sometimes do is like, especially if it's really bad news, like that wasn't bad news. That was just regular human news.
Yeah.
But if I have to give really bad news, sometimes at the end, I want to do a reading to like give them some help. So I'll do a reading with Dark Goddess, like who among the Dark Goddesses will step forward to help this person.
Oh, cool.
And I can only get, because of the way I've like, the question only admits good answers. Like every answer you can get to that is a good answer because I'm just asking like who's going to help and somebody's going to help. And so I really love that Dark Goddess deck. And I particularly like it for those kind of readings. I will also say and I say this as a 47-year-old single white lady, that deck is like particularly good for maybe like those kind of like maybe middle-aged female, like, oh, what am I doing with my life now that I'm retired or my kids are grown or whatever. Those kinds of questions. I feel like that those Dark Goddesses are on that mission. Let's see. Okay, I'm not that into cats personally, but this is a great deck. This is maybe my favorite death card of all of our decks. It's like the cat, it's all the past lives or future lives, however you want to read it. And like, also I think the book for this one is quite good. So again, I don't even particularly like cats, like Please Other Witches. Sorry, I'm kind of allergic. Like, but this is a great deck.
Yes.
And also I think the art is really gorgeous on this one. What's another really cool? Quantum Tarot is cool.
Whoa.
It's like every card is like tied to a physics concept. Which you'd think would be crazy, but I'll tell you, like again, I was a theoretical mathematician. Like I love this deck. I think it's really cool. If you're a physics nerd, I mean, if you're not a physics nerd, you know, the art is cool and you could still read it the way you would any deck. But if you're like a science nerd, this is a particularly awesome deck.
Yeah.
So like the Lovers as gravity.
Oh,
that's cool, but not like that's not trite and obvious. Do you know what I mean? Like if you had made gravity like the world or even the tower, like people are falling out of the tower, like, okay, guys. But gravity as the Lovers makes so much sense, right?
Yeah, it's that like tension between the
they're pulling
together.
On each other.
Yeah.
I just think I think this is a super cool deck. Let's see some other. Shining Tribe is by Rachel Pollack. Again, this is not an art style that I necessarily
Right.
like. This doesn't grab me when I look at a shelf, but this is another great deck. Like, look at this Emperor card.
Uh-huh.
Amazing. And
Yeah.
also, this book is quite good.
Cool.
Like, this book is worth reading, even if you like don't end up with this deck. And Rachel Pollack was the late Rachel Pollack was just amazing. She was like really like a visionary.
I think her book, 78 rules of, or 78 paths of, what was that? That's like the first really real tarot book I like read. I got deep into.
I feel like it's called, I like you don't remember the exact time. I think it's called like 78 paths of wisdom, 78 degrees of wisdom.
78 degrees of wisdom. Yeah.
That's a great book. Okay, I'm gonna show you this deck. This deck is weird. And I'll say it's not our most popular deck. But it's based on like these Byzantine icons.
Wow.
Oh, I like it.
Art is amazing. And the book, like, it tells you a lot about the art. Like, there's a lot of really, like, if you want to learn about Byzantine icons,
Yeah,
this is a cool deck. And, you know, like, I'm not Christian. I didn't grow up Christian. Like, does the mythology completely speak to me in this deck? It doesn't. Like, there's a lot of Jesus in this deck for my taste.
Yeah.
But
right.
the art is like, look at this. Look at this moon.
Yeah.
That's really pretty.
Amazing, right? Like, I really liked this deck. And again, the book is just fascinating. At least for me, because I don't know that much about Byzantine icons, or I didn't when I read it. What else is really cool? Ellis deck. This is another one that I think, like, the art, you either love it or hate it. I love it.
Okay.
But, like, look at that priestess.
Cool.
So cool. I'm sorry, we could do this all. This Lovers, I think, is maybe the best card. This is maybe the best card in this deck. I really like this Lovers.
Yeah.
All the like little details, the way like he's kind of sunny and she's kind of moony, and the heart that comes together. Oof.
Aww.
I really like that. And that again has a good book. Again, I'm not saying any of them are bad, but Voyager. Voyager is an older deck that I think like older people are probably familiar with, but I think a lot of young people have never seen this deck. As far as I know,
early 90s. It feels like, it reminds me of that early 90s like time. It's so kind of nostalgic.
I think
Totally.
I'm gonna say maybe even late 80s or early
Late
90s.
80s.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
okay.
not sure. I guess
Yeah.
I should be because I publish it, but I don't have all the like dates of every deck we publish. This deck, this is one of those ones that like it has so much detail.
Wow.
Huh.
And also I think this deck is really good for like business and finance readings.
Oh.
Interesting.
Which is sometimes like some decks are better for certain kinds of questions.
Yeah.
That's so
And I
fun.
think this deck is particularly good for those like money questions, which sometimes some of the more like mystic decks.
Yeah.
If you ask like, am I going to get a promotion? They'll be like, aren't we all being promoted toward?
Yeah,
right.
I'm like, guys, that's not what I asked. Like,
Do you think we
is
can ask
there
a
money
short
on the
question?
table, guys? Say
I
that
think
again?
has a question.
Well, AC has a question
Okay.
about business for later summer, and that would be a fun deck. Or no? I don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah, you want to do one?
Okay.
Okay, let me go back to the reading menu.
You know, like a little quick one. The 3-card one.
Sure. Okay. Do you have like what's the specific?
So
You don't have to tell me the specific question if you don't want.
Yeah, but basically, like, will my next business venture be a success or like sell out? You know, is that?
That's what she would know. Though,
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm happy to read that question, but it sounds like that's just a yes or no question.
Okay. Yeah.
Or more
So-
about like what should you know about it?
Yeah. What should I know
Yeah,
about
so
my next?
What I would do is let's reframe that question a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's do like I'm going to do 3 cards. So in order to ensure great success,
Yes.
right? You should stop doing this,
Okay.
keep doing this,
Yes.
start doing this. So 3
Love it.
cards. Stop, keep, start.
That's
Stop,
awesome.
Keep starting.
I would
Love
love to
that.
also talk with you for like an hour just about like these kind of things.
I know.
One
know?
of the reasons that I don't use a lot, one of the reasons I love all the pre-made spreads is because I like to read them for inspiration.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the truth is, I usually only use them 2 or 3 times. Most of the time, I just make up my own spreads.
Right.
Nice.
And I'll tell you, if you guys sign up for the newsletter, if I don't know what else, like if I'm struggling to know what to put in a newsletter,
Yeah.
I just put in a spread. So
Nice.
there's like, I would say there's probably 2 new spreads a week or,
Cool.
or a month in the weekly newsletter, depending.
Cool.
So, okay. So I'm going to actually write that down. So we're going to go right, because then
Stop.
when we look back, it'll be there. So 1, start.
Start. Right.
2, keep. 3, I made a thing about me being a mathematician, so obviously I tried to put 4 as if I don't know how to count. 3, stop.
Nice.
Or step, apparently. It's actually better at handwriting that's not me. I'm just particular. My handwriting is hard for humans too. Okay, so I'm going to shuffle for a little while. So think about like the business itself, like in your head. You don't have to tell me about it. I'm just going to think about your business. Right? Unless there's like more details you want to give me. Okay, pick a pile.
Middle.
I'll tell you, as a person who does a lot of these readings, like 75% of people pick the middle.
Okay.
There's like a fun, like, just as a person who does a lot of readings for other people. Okay, so we're going to start doing this, keep doing this, stop doing this. So start. So here we have the 5 of crystals, which is like the 5 of discs, upside down. So having an upside down card as a thing to start doing can feel a little weird. But to me, what I'm saying is that like, you're going to start doing this, but not jump right into it. Like you're going to kind of put this card out, right? But not entirely play it yet, right? So the 5 of discs here, it's sometimes called worry. And here it's talking about like sort of like negative thinking. Your mental sharpness can cut down, slay, and negate. So I think what you're being encouraged to do is like retain your like really skeptical, critical mind. Okay. But it's upside down. So like have that ready to turn up when you need it, but it's not saying do that immediately, right? But there's an indication that like maybe you are going to need that in the future. And so you should start doing that, but not jump fully in. Okay. And again, I'll come back. Remember what I said at the beginning about like, don't read the cards one at a time, like read the whole thing. So I'll come back. I'm going to talk one at a time and then I'll sort of put them together.
But just very basically, it says start worrying.
It does, but because that's what I mean. Oh, sorry. I didn't turn the cards over.
Right.
Right. Okay. Keep doing this. All right. You two are getting a difficult reading to have in public. But here's the thing. So the tower, for people who don't know tarot, like remember I was saying they start off as biblical metaphors, but this is the Tower of Babel. Like it's your whole project falling down. But as something to keep doing, this actually isn't so bad. So I'm going to give a piece of advice. We live in tower times. Right. Like the tower of our society is like low-key crumbling. And I'm not saying like, oh, the apocalypse is tomorrow, doom is nigh, but like there's that vibe in the air. Yeah. Right. And so I think this card is telling you to like, don't forget that. Like, don't forget that your business is still embedded in this really complex, low-key, terrible world that is going on. And the fact that this came up in the keep indicates that like you already are doing that. Like you already thought about that. Yeah. But I will say as a business person, sometimes, especially when it's a new thing, it's really easy to like kind of get some tunnel vision about it. Yeah. And imagine that like you have full control over everything. But you're already doing this, like keep doing this idea that, you know, things are falling down. But in addition, I'm going to read you this little bit at the end. By leaping into the alchemist's furnace, melt down the old inner and outer structures. Thus, a metamorphosis occurs, symbolized by the red-winged blackbird. Here we go. Zoom in that a little bit. Oh. right?
I didn't even see that.
That's
Yeah.
what I mean. That's what I love about like zooming in is there's, especially this deck, there's so many little details that like you wouldn't necessarily miss. The first bird to herald the return of spring. There is a new dawning and you restructure your life, the light in the tower. So to me, that tells me that like, even though we framed this as a business reading, like this is also like sort of a big important deal in your life. Like this isn't just a business move, like this is you sort of entering into a new phase of life, and you're doing that in a complicated time, and so it might be a little bumpy. But again, because this is in the keep doing sort of slot, that tells me you're on top of it. Like you know, like I don't think this is news to you, you already knew that, but keep like your deal doing this, just keep doing it. And then
that's what you said about the acknowledging that we're in tower times too. And so that might influence the business, you know, from one direction to another, perhaps, of like helping other people through the tower times.
Oh, for sure. And also, to be really blunt, as a person who's in business and talking to a lot of people, other people who are in business, it's like not a great time to be in business.
It's like no matter what business.
Right. And I always think it's me. Like my sales are down right now, as are everyone else's. Like I'm also not buying a lot of stuff right now. And I think a lot of the theme of this reading is like, that's not you. Right? Because here we have this stop judgment. And so it's really interesting how your cards are all like quite thematically linked, but they give like these subtle sort of quite clear things. So judgment, I said they were all biblical allegories. Judgment is like the final judgment. So judgment is like, hey, wake up, wake up, wake up. And here, this is judgment reversed is a great card to have in stop, because it's saying like what you need to stop is just like flipping out and thinking things are the end of the world. Like just don't do that. And I don't know if you're doing that or not, but if you are, don't. Like judgment's upside down. Stop doing it. Right? You can keep it like your sort of critical thinking reserve. You can like keep it if you need it. But like in some sense, I understand judgment reversed as a like stop doing this, as kind of just be like, it's okay, chill out a little. Okay. So now I'm gonna like go back and look at the three. I'm gonna just put them a little bit closer together and zoom in a little bit so we can see them a little better. Sorry, again, the iPad is propped up in a way that is not so easy to hit. There we go. Okay, so some things I notice, at least to me. So this is something I do when I do this sort of tableau aspect, right? Is I kind of just like unfocus my eyes and sort of see how things are moving through. And so see here, if I just look at like the colors, I can see all this like, I realize you can't see what I'm pointing at. This one, right? At the bottom, there's like all this red Michigats, right? And that's sort of like feeding into the tower here, right? But then with judgment reversed, you can see it like this chaos is actually not really present, right? So it is like an external thing that like just stop flipping out about. Again, I'm not suggesting you are flipping out. You seem like a chill person. I don't know your life. I always flip out. I'm just a flipper outer about stuff.
There's a lot of flipping out happening inside sometimes. So
right.
I have a calm demeanor.
And so you would think that this is like a worrying reading, but I actually think for the climate in which you are opening this new business, this is a pretty solid reading. Right? That like the things you like, the thing it wants you to start doing is like, do bring your like critical faculties, but you don't necessarily like not your negative thinking, just your like sharp informed skepticism, because it's upside down. Right. And similarly, the judgment being upside down tells me that like this is not like a clarion call from the gods, like danger, danger. Right. It's just like, don't do that. Even though it might feel like that, because we are being fed a 24-hour 7-day-a-week stream of paranoia inducing propaganda.
Yeah.
Like the powers that be would like us to feel like it is the literal end of the world, which judgment is the end of the world, right? It's the final judgment.
Yeah.
Like the rapture or whatever. And it's
Right.
not that. It's upside down. No, not that.
Yeah.
But it is a tower. Like things are falling apart.
Yeah.
And that opens up a lot of, you know, opportunity as well. Like that tower that's falling down, that's not a great tower. It's actually like a prison tower. So it's cool that it's falling down. It's just, you know, dodging the debris.
Yeah.
Right. But I really think like this line about the alchemist furnace and the bird in the middle, especially like, see this, now that I have it big, you can kind of see like this red orange that I was comparing to like this red orange. You can even see they're like kind of sort of, they have the same like sort of geometric structure to them. Right. That's how I can tell that like this one feeds into that. Whereas the part that feeds into the future, like look at this bird and whatever that is behind the bird. Color wise, like that's what's feeding into this one.
True. Okay.
You know, and you
that's
have
cool.
like the little Buddha heads and they're like thought bubbles.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. Like that is my reading on your business, which again, we're all getting very real readings today. So you in the audience, you guys can tell that we didn't like fake read and just put up exactly what we wanted to hear. The cards are like, no, this is what you need to hear.
Yeah.
Right? And then I'm not going to do this because it's going to open up my like if I try and do this live online, everybody's going to see my email box, which is my shameful inbox, which my life is so boring. It's not like there's anything embarrassing there. It's just like you'll see that I'm a slob who doesn't answer my emails. But I could, and I'll do this after we're not recording anymore. I could like share this directly with you. Nice. So I could send you the spread and the like image and the book meanings and the like, well, we didn't use a spread. So that's awesome. Just like it shows in, I'm going to back out, just like it shows in the journal. Sometimes it thinks I'm trying to write when I'm just trying to click. Yeah. Right. So this is like what's in the journal and I can basically just send you this. Cool. But I also have options. So like, again, for a client, I'll say, especially for this reading, I might not send them these book readings. Yeah. Which I feel like for somebody who didn't know tarot, might be kind of scary what's written here because you have to like know how to interpret them. Right. So I have like options about what I want to send. Right. Yeah. You know, and so again, I can share it from here as well. I can go back later. This is something I didn't say before. I can go back later in the journal and like after my trip, I can go into my journal and write down like how that reading actually played out. Cool. As like a learning example, which I'll tell you, going back and reading old tarot journals is very humbling because now as a better reader and also like knowing what happened. So I'll tell you, like, if I like read my tarot journal from like, say, the couple of months leading up to a breakup, I'm like, oh, I really should have seen that coming. Yeah. I was told about all these problems and I just ignored them. Yeah. Yeah. I'm like,
sometimes it's nice to have a friend help interpret.
Yeah. Sometimes
exactly. Yeah. When you read for yourself, at least I find when I read for myself, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and just like talk for a little bit.
Yeah.
I think. So when I'm reading for myself, I sort of fall into two camps. Sometimes I just see whatever I want to see. But other times, as perhaps a slightly anxious human, I like I project my own fears into the cards as well. So it is, I think, really good to I think for important things, especially things that I'm like emotionally wound up about. Yeah. Even as a professional reader, I don't normally read for myself. Like I would just ask a friend to read for me because I know that I'm just gonna not listen. Like the cards are gonna tell me stuff and I'm gonna be like, la la la, I can't hear you. Right. Which was interesting to do with an audience because there were some pieces of that reading where the reading was like, get your fucking shit together. Where I was like, la 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 la. Yeah. I mean, and that's I think that partly goes back to what I was saying about like intuition versus rules. Yeah. Because you know, the fact that the cards have meanings, if what I'm trying to project onto them really does not match the cards I'm looking at, then, you know, like that's maybe a signal to me that I'm not doing it right. That maybe I am projecting my own stuff that's not really there. You know?
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
So, yeah, that's one of the reasons I like systems like tarot that have that sort of like check and balance aspect of having like a quite formal meaning, or even astrology, which I think sometimes beginners to divination don't understand that, like, that table, that's not all there is to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if we had a robot read those cards for you, you and I would both be fucked.
Right?
It's not what the cards like, but we'd be fucked in the sense like we wouldn't have really understood the message of that deck.
Yeah.
Because tarot reading divination is like a human activity. Like the
Right.
cards are a tool, or the app is a tool that we use. It doesn't like replace the actual like spiritual and magical and like intuitive work that is occurring. Or even, I know some people don't understand it to be like spiritual. Even if you think it's like psychological,
Yeah.
it still gives you an outside check on that.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so again, those are all the many reasons why I love the Fool's Dog app. So I'm just gonna, if you don't mind, do like a 2-minute advertisement.
Yeah.
So this app that you've been looking at is called the Fool's Dog Tarot and Divination. If you just put Fool's Dog Tarot into like the app search, it'll come right up. But also, I'm sure wherever you're watching this video, somewhere in like the notes or whatever, we will just have a direct link for you. The app is totally free. The deck that it comes with for free is that sampler app that you can play with. And then you can buy all the other decks inside the app. They're about $4 each. So you can pick out whichever ones you like. Okay. From when you guys hear this, for another week, so for the month of July, we are running a special deal where for $108, you can buy all of our decks in a big bundle.
Wow.
And there will be a link for that. And also, in the notes, you guys are going to find my email address. If you email me, 1, I'm going to sign you up for our newsletter. And 2, I will enter you into a contest to win a bundle. And 3, if you email me and say something cool or intelligent or like meaningful about tarot, like if you just email me and be like submit or newsletter or really anything, I'll add your newsletter and enter you into the contest. But if you write anything cool about tarot and what you like about it or what you hate about it or what you think about digital decks, if you write me a real email, I will send you a QR code for a free deck.
Nice. That's awesome.
So again, I can only give out free codes for Apple, but if you have an Android, feel free to, like, you could give that as a gift if you wanted to somebody else.
Yeah.
But it is not within my power as of right now to give you free Android apps. And I will say, sadly, it is not within my power to, like, Apple and Android will not let us share across platforms. So, like, if you buy a deck on your iPad, you can also have it on your iPhone. You can also have it on any other Apple device connected to your Apple account or whatever. Yeah. But you can't, you have to buy it separately if you also have an Android device. I apologize. Let me think about how to say this. I think it is probably not a shock to anyone that Apple and Google are not maybe like the best of corporate overlords. Yeah. Like, I tried. If it was up to me, we would let you do that, but they will not permit us to do that.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's true for any app. That's not just us. Yeah. Like any app that you buy on one, you're going to have to buy separately on the other one. Yeah. That's just how apps work. And just to be clear, there's no like subscription or anything. It's not like $4 a month for this deck. It's $4 and then you own that deck forever.
Assuming you have a phone and have
forever in a like sense that means you still have an iPhone and iPhone's still like, you know, after the apocalypse, is your iPhone deck still going to work? You know what? Our deck doesn't call out to the internet. So once the deck's on your phone, if your phone works, it'll still work. Like even like on an airplane, for example, like there's no, like I said, we're not collecting any data. We're not looking at your readings. It's all happening on your own phone. So you can do it on an airplane, anywhere else you don't have any coverage. After the apocalypse, probably not your highest priority. And I imagine your battery's going to die, but still work.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much, Sarah, for sharing this amazing app. I had so much fun learning about it. I downloaded it on my phone while we were talking.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for having me. Thank you for letting me show off. And thank you for talking about tarot. Honestly, just love tarot and I'm a huge tarot nerd. I just like to talk about tarot.
Yeah.
We got to look at so many pretty decks.
We did. Yeah.
Oh, and one last thing. If you just want to browse all the decks, if you guys go to foolsdog.com/decks, I think you can just look at all the decks that we carry.
Oh, great.
Wow, that's awesome.
And I'll give you guys
kind
a
of
link
cool to
share.
see like what decks are around or what decks are available and like
there's tons of decks and like I'm a pretty serious tarot person, but there's definitely decks that we carry that like I wouldn't know about if we didn't carry them. Right.
Yeah.
Especially some of the like older decks that are out of print. Like even if I could get my hands on a copy, some of those paper copies would be like $400 or something.
Wow.
I'm not that person.
Yeah.
$4 is pretty reasonable.
Right. I feel like $4. I have never once downloaded a $4 tarot deck and been like, this is not worth $4.
Right.
$4, you know, that's half a movie. That's not even half a movie ticket. That's half a matinee movie ticket.
Yeah.
$4 is the new 25 cents.
Right. So so even like they're just fun little toys you can play with. And they're also pretty small on your phone. Like, again, I have all 100 decks on my phone, and that is not a problem at all.
Nice.
Right. Cool.
Awesome.
Well, thank you, Sarah. Have a wonderful evening and good luck on your trip.
Thank you so much.
That was fun.
Good luck with your business.
Thank you.
Report back to me how it goes.
Okay, I will.